It was a dramatic first. The first time in American naval history that women were assigned to the crew of a ship. On a soggy November 18, 1972, at Hunters Point Naval Shipyard in California, the USS Sanctuary, a dependent support ship, was recommissioned. The Navy's first woman admiral, Aileen Dirk, gave the commissioning address.
The Sanctuary is being recommissioned as a new and unusual type of ship with a new mission to assist the Navy's effort to improve morale and flexibility by home porting combatant ships overseas. This ship will provide medical and resale services to deployed dependents wherever the fleet may be assigned. In addition to this forward step, the Sanctuary has also been selected, as you know, as the ship to participate in the pilot program, which will evaluate the utilization of women for shipboard duty. It will be home for about 80 women, half in the crew and half at the hospital. With these innovations, you can see that the Sanctuary is truly unique in many respects.
The Sanctuary is an experiment to see how well women and men can work together at sea. It is also a symbol of the Navy's changing view toward women. For in the Navy, equal rights means equal opportunity. However, women in the Navy are not new. Dating back to World War I, Navy women have had a long history of proud service. Back in those days, they were known as yeomanettes, and they provided much valuable assistance in the war effort. Joy Hancock, whose Navy career would span 4 decades, was one of those who volunteered.
Our Secretary of the Navy at that time was Josephus Daniels. He didn't cut the corners, but he found a very easy and practical way, generally, to do things. And when we found that civil service couldn't supply the number of women they wanted in the clerical ratings, he said, well, is there any reason why they shouldn't be sworn into the Naval Reserve? And his aides looked up the law, the legislation, and much to their surprise, they found that someone had neglected to write in the word male into the legislation. So Mr. Daniels said, all right, bring in the women, and that was it. We were accepted because we had certain skills to offer, mostly in the clerical field. And of course, they did expand to communications, cryptology, and telephone operators.
1918. The war ends and women are mustered out. No thought is given to keeping them in service. Not until 20 years later does that thought reappear. (1938). Hitler begins the inextricable march toward war. Some Navy leaders realize that women will be needed again when the conflagration occurs. Yet there is opposition. Joy Hancock was a Navy civilian employee at the time.
Well, those objections came from various fields. The first that was a very positive objection came from the Congress itself. And I think that was had its basis in a feeling of chivalry, which the men had. I mean, I heard the expression so many times, oh, the women shouldn't be brought into the war. Women are to be protected, and so forth and so on. And some of our senior senators were guilty of those remarks. And as far as the Navy was concerned, except for the very few older officers, no one seemed to remember that women had already served, and the experiment had been carried out in World War I. Very early in the program, there arose a need for some sort of a catchy thing. We tried saying the Women's Reserve or the Naval Reserve or the women enrolled for this, that, and the other. And finally, among the various suggestions that were given was one by Lieutenant Elizabeth Raynard. And she's given credit for this slogan or acronym because it smacked of the Navy in itself, WAVES, and she based that on the women accepted for volunteer emergency service. And that proved to be a very catchy one for public relations purposes and also in recruiting.
Calling all women, calling all women.
Join the WAVES. In Seattle, Washington, newly trained WAVES, Navy auxiliaries, take over the Seattle air stations. We're proud of our first assignment, and we're taking turns in manning the control tower. We're only a few of the 5,000 waves already signed up, but the Navy says we're doing such a good job that they want 30,000 more. Already we've learned how to help instruct pilots with the Link trainer. Some of us carry last-minute sealed orders to the pilot. So come on, girls, and join the waves.
And come they did, from all walks of life and all parts of the country. Secretaries, teachers, salesgirls, students, from Louisiana, Texas, Nebraska, Connecticut, Oregon, Georgia. Whatever their background, they shared a common desire to help their country in time of need. Mildred Helen McAfee was appointed first director of the Waves. She had been the president of Wellesley College. In August 1942, she was sworn in by the Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox. Practically overnight, 2 major training centers were established for women. One for officers at Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts. The other for enlisted waves at Hunter College, New York City. This training facility was nicknamed the SS Hunter. By the end of the first year, 27,000 women were in Navy uniforms, and more were coming every day.
The first birthday for America's waves, and a very healthy 1-year-old. All across the nation, the women sailors celebrate the anniversary. When the candle goes out, the wave's second year begins. 1 year old and already 30,000 officers and enlisted women. In Philadelphia, they had a 10-foot, 500-pound battleship cake to celebrate with. Helping cut it is Lieutenant Frances Rich, daughter of Irene. And Ensign Moore, whose birthday is the same day, eats the first piece.